Yo, this is Eric with the Mind Melt podcast. Just wanted to do a quick intro. Today, we recorded a podcast without a topic. It was just a really good friend of mine, Cody, that I've known since I was a baby. And we just talked about a bunch of bullshit. So I hope that you enjoy it. Follow us on Instagram at Mind Melt Podcast and Twitter at Mind Melt Podcast. We will talk to you soon. All right. Much love. Peace. Yo, what up? It's Eric with Mind Melt Podcast, and I got my homie Cody Folda in the house today. Well, it's not really a house; it's a fifth wheel because that's what we live in.
The Casa.
El Casa de Eric. And Cody and I have known each other since we were like 6?
Must have been.
Yeah, like 6 years old, I think. And we went to elementary school together, but we lived like right across the street from each other. So we hung out 5 days a week, and we do that now because we work together.
Yep.
So,
Back to the same shenanigans.
yeah, it's really cool because, like I'm sure that as like having other people work with me in the past, I always was kind of like working with people that didn't know me, didn't know my personality, and I can probably come off as an asshole sometimes.
I'm sure it was tough for him.
Yeah.
Just to be honest, you know. Like, I get you totally. But it sounds like the other guys.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's cool though, because now he works with me. So we work really well together. And that's why I wanted our boss to hire him, was because he knew me. And
well, and I knew what I was for the most part.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. He's pretty experienced, and we're both woodworkers and we build custom cabinets. So it's not like, we're.
And I came from building rustic furniture. So
that
it wasn't
different.
just that we were,
Right.
It's probably a good thing too, because we wouldn't get much done.
Yeah, no shit. I know.
If we were just friends. You know?
Yeah, that's so true. But so it's cool. Now he works with me. I get to hang out with him every day, and we have a lot of fun. It's a fun work. It's good to have a job that you like, I feel really bad for these people that work at like restaurants or fast food chains or whatever.
It's a grind.
Yeah, it is a grind. And most people's jobs are grinds.
Yeah.
And
we're pretty lucky.
And we get paid decent for the state of Idaho.
Yeah. And our boss cooks a steak.
Yeah, no shit.
And sausage
and yeah, and it's really cool.
Oh man.
And
you could make the biggest mistake and he'd be like, yeah, all right.
Mistakes happen.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because like since I've been up here again, I moved away for a long time, but since I've been back in Coeur d'Alene, most of the people that I've met, especially in the building industry, have just been fucking crazy, like super redneck, like,
Oh, they're kind of in a league of their own around here.
Super Trumpy, which is, whatever. But we're all pretty nuanced and we can all, talk shit on whatever. And it works out. We're all pretty open-minded, and nobody gets butthurt over something. But the last guys that I worked with, that wasn't really the case.
Yeah, it sounded like like walking on eggshells around those guys.
Yeah, especially because one of them was a Mexican who was super pro-Trump, which is ironic, right?
Yeah, that sounds a little weird.
Yeah.
You think he's still pro-Trump?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He was that hardcore?
He was hardcore, dude.
Oh,
he was so hardcore into it. It was like when when Trump first came out with the Muslim ban thing, I was like, kind of like, look, not everybody from this country is a Muslim or wants to be a Muslim. Maybe some of those countries enforce Islam, so
yeah,
whatever. But not everybody is going to be coming over here trying to convert. And my fucking feelings on Islam.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of Islam.
Nope.
Or any other religion for that matter. But Islam especially, there's a lot of fucked upness in it. And so I'm not really like pro-Islam, but you can't like group Muslims into Islam.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's like saying all white people are racist, or
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's
it's
a good
unique.
point. Yeah,
it's
it is.
unique to every.
Yeah. And just like with everything else, the small fringe crazy fucked up percentage is of those people that do crazy shit is the small fringe percentage. It's not,
But
like,
that's what gets focused on,
right. Yeah, it's so like fucking attractive for the media to focus on that because that's clickbaity. And so they talk about the 1% of Muslims that are blowing themselves up or whatever it is, 5%. I don't really know. But and then so
It's enough to
yeah,
get us to look at them.
but it was funny because his reasoning why he didn't want Muslims to come here was because he didn't want them to take away our jobs. And I'm like, dude,
They don't want our jobs.
yeah, like
if anything, they said one guy to infiltrate, the cabinet business.
Nobody's taking your job, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, you're a fat Mexican working in North Idaho building cabinets. Like, there's not a single Islamist that's gonna come in here with a gun and be like, "You need to fire him and hire me." So
that's true. But he was worried about that.
Yeah.
Was he worried about his job or just
Dude,
like American?
He wasn't worried about shit. He was just trying to talk shit. You know what I mean?
That's to piss you off.
Yeah, no, that's just what the right does, and the super right and the super left. That's what they do. They just like cling on to these like catchphrases that are in the news, and then they just swing and bat them home. You know what I mean? They're like, it's like
that's what we're gonna drive hard and push.
It's like, dude, how many Republicans out there are anti-abortion, pro-gun, like you name it, like anything that's like Catholic or Christian, you know what I mean?
I was just gonna say, do you think there's like it sounds like a lot of the Republican values today are really religious values too,
Yeah.
They kind of go hand in hand, but the Democrat side or view of things is...
Well, the funny thing about the Democrat side is, like, if you demonize Islam as a liberal, you are a crazy, like anti-Muslim or Islamophobist or whatever.
You're immediately labeled something crazy like that.
Right. But they all talk shit on Christianity.
So what does that make them?
Stupid. Like, I don't know. Like, dude, Islam is I like I said, I don't like any religion. Okay. Yeah. That's the caveat I have to put out there. I don't like any of them. But I think that there are levels of bad religions. Okay. Like, you can't compare a Buddhist to a Christian,
No.
A Buddhist or a Taoist, someone that like literally just the whole belief system is not to have belief systems, And so then there's...
But they're called Taoists?
Well, they don't even like to call themselves Taoists.
So other people call
Right. There's books called the Tao, and stuff like that. But
I've heard of that, but I didn't know.
Yeah, their whole thing is like not having rigid belief systems and ideology and not living a certain, demographic, So it's like a Taoist, like, dude, you can't even... Or an atheist is the furthest extreme, right? Because well, that's not a religion, but like Buddhism, for example, isn't going to be as bad as Christianity, and Christianity is not as bad as Islam. I've read both books. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's fooling anybody, and so I think that with the left, it's just like they see Islam or Muslims as a race for some reason, and they think that anytime that you say anything bad about Muslims, you're a racist.
Yeah.
Which I just don't get, because there's no...
Well, I think a lot of people still get that confused.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
definitely.
When 9/11 happened and they were talking about everything, I thought it was, a certain race of... But we were young then.
Yeah, dude. What was that, 4th grade?
Fifth?
Yeah. I knew it was something like that.
But...
you know what's funny is I like my only real memory from 9/11. Well, I mean, aside from the planes hitting the buildings and shit, because I was awake watching that when it happened.
Yeah.
But aside from that, the only thing that I really remember from like that day of school was like, remember that kid that lived down the street from us? I think his name was Tyler.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember him like saying how we need to kill all the Muslims, and like he's a 5th grader. So his dad clearly was like...
His mom was one of our lunch ladies.
That's right, dude. I forgot about that. That's true. Yeah, that's interesting.
Do you remember lunch that day?
No.
Just was she back
I don't
there just
remember. I don't even know what I did for
Muslim.
work 2 days ago. Remember when we were trying to figure that
Oh,
out?
yeah.
So
Sorry, boss.
yeah, how the fuck are we gonna remember?
Putting together time of material.
Yeah, dude. Jeez.
We got it figured out, though.
We got it figured out. Barely.
Yeah.
I mean,
We've been so busy.
No, it's crazy.
No way that took.
Yeah.
But
so it's I think that's the problem with the right and the left, or whatever you want to call it, is like the right is like fuck Muslims, and so because they're like fuck Muslims, then the left is like, oh my god, that's racist.
Yeah.
But fuck Christians, because they are all Christians on the right. You know what I mean? It's
they're both pushing bad points, and it's just to be, they need to work together, I think.
Yeah, and both of them are so rigid. and they like whatever their group says goes. That's like one thing that I've noticed. It's like nobody in the group is like, well, let's take a step back here and look at abortion. Maybe abortion is wrong at a certain time.
Yeah.
But
like
maybe it's okay at another certain time. You know what I mean?
Maybe they need to get together and like have a meeting, because it seems like one of them makes a bad statement or a statement, and then they're all like, "Oh yeah, let's cling to that," like you're saying.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I know. I think it's really funny. But with the opening, I wanted to talk about the guy that we met the other day. That was a flat earther.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I've thought about him a few times recently, and he just kind of freaks me out.
Well, it's just so funny because like we recorded that episode of the Flat Earth a couple weeks ago, so obviously it's been on my mind, And
we got to meet one.
Yeah. And it was like our boss is so hilarious because he just loves
he threw you under the bus.
Yeah, he
just to see it.
Yeah. This guy walks in and my boss had told me that our neighbor up there, our neighbor by the shop, was a flat earther.
And I had no idea.
Right. Cody didn't know that. But he had told me that several times, and I was like, oh man, I'd love to talk to this guy. Like, holy shit, And then Paul is like, this guy walks in and Paul just looks at him. He's like, hey, guess what? If his name's Rich. Hey, Rich, guess what? Eric's a flat earther.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck. And then the guy was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, because I didn't want to debate him right there. So I just went with it, And
I wondered why, but now I know why, because he was a fighter. I was like, why would Paul just say that to this guy?
I know.
So I was waiting for a joke to happen, and then you guys had, So
then, so then he's like, well, finally I meet someone with a fucking brain.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And then Paul's like, you don't really believe that shit, do you, Eric? And I was like, here we go.
Yeah, so he went from one side to the other. It was like,
well, because I think that he thought that I was just gonna be like, what? No, I'm not. But I just kind of went with it because I didn't want to debate him. But then he said it. I was like, well, like Paul's like, do you understand it, Eric? And I was like, well, I mean, I understand why people believe it, And then the guy's like, wait. And then he started realizing I'm not really a flat earther.
Yeah. Then he started putting it together.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm still confused at this point.
Yeah.
In the corner.
He was like, he's like, wait. And he's like, you don't actually, you know it's flat, right? Or whatever. And I was like, well, I mean, I understand why people think that, but I definitely don't think that. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, think about this. And he's like, the other day when we were looking up at the moon, there was a crescent. You know what a crescent is, right? I'm like, yes, I know what a crescent is. And he's like, yeah, well, tell me this. If the earth is round and the moon is out there, then how come we could have a crescent moon and still have the sun in the same thing? Wouldn't you think it'd be a full moon? There's none of Earth's shadow on there. And I'm like, well, the Earth's shadow only appears on the moon during a lunar eclipse. It's not the Earth's shadow that gives it the crescent. And he was like, okay, well, something, for sure.
He didn't have a rebuttal.
He didn't have a rebuttal for that.
Nothing for that one.
Then he was like, okay, well, the sun's light is obviously different. They say that the moon gets the light from the sun, but it's obviously different light because the moon is white and the sun is yellow. And I'm like, whoa, dude. I'm not even ready to tell you why that's such a stupid statement. But so I start to explain to him, I'm like, Well, you do realize the sun's just hitting the moon, right? It's not actually the sunlight. It's not the sun's light because the sun
is different.
Yeah, it's a nuclear fusion reaction. Like that's why the
sun's made of rocks.
Yeah, no, the moon's made of rocks.
The moon, yeah. Not the sun. Word vomit.
The moon's made of rocks, and they're just reflecting whatever the atomic material is that it's made up of. And I was like, for example, look outside. You see the leaves? Those are from the sunlight too, but they're green.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just was like, what?
He said, no,
not true.
No.
I was like, wait. Okay, dude.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the end of it.
Yeah, I think Paul stepped in and at that point it was like, realized this is not how he wanted it to go.
Because it would turn into 2 hours of work being flat earth discussion.
And apparently this guy will talk your ear off.
Yeah. Yeah, I could tell that for sure.
Yeah.
It was so weird. I've never met a fucking flat earther that looked like he might have been in the mob at one point.
Yeah, he was, like you said, he had that look.
That Guido look.
The Guido
he had the
look.
Gold chain with the fucking hair hanging out and shit.
His tucked in collared shirt.
Probably just prowling on Tinder every night, getting swiped lefted like every fucking 10 minutes because nobody wants to hang out.
And I'd never met a flat earther. Like that was literally the first time that I've ever come into contact with one, and so it just made it real for me,
Yeah, I know, it's kind of weird. Like I guess this movement is I don't understand how a man of his age comes into that,
That's what kind of gets me about it.
Yeah, like I understand people our age,
because
especially like a lot of people are contrarians, like they want to believe whatever
is the opposite,
and so I have so many friends like that. It's like when a school shooting happens, it's like, okay, what angle can we make a conspiracy out of this from? You know what I mean? Like right off the bat. And it's like, dude, come on. You know what I mean? It can't all be a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's tons of real conspiracies that like MK Ultra, which is the topic for this weekend. So
yeah,
it's really weird. I mean, it is. I guess it is hard to know what to believe when there's been real fucked up shit.
We're lied to every day.
Yeah. Like I'm still so neutral on 9/11. It's not even funny.
It is. And I've questioned you about it so many times, and it's still like I was surprised about how neutral you were about it. You know?
Well, I mean, dude,
but we don't know what to think.
We don't. And I mean, I lean more towards the fact that it is what was on the news. You know what I mean? And the only reason I lean more towards that is because of how many people would have to be involved.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're bringing in tons and tons and tons of like, you know what the reality of it is though? What is really probably true is that there's a little bit of both, like there's a little bit of conspiracy in there and there's a little bit of truth in there. Like it was probably like the government might have known prior to this and didn't do anything. Chose not to do something about it because they wanted some sort of change to engage into war.
Exactly. Like Bush and Cheney were like, hey, let's just
I mean, dude, there's so many parallels. It's crazy. Like with Cheney and his previous, company, and with Bush and like their whole fucking weird family. I don't know, dude. It's
it definitely is, because it's it was an excuse to get more money and all of that, but at the same time so many people lost it was such a serious thing. How could you let that happen? And since then all these experts have come out and said it couldn't be
right.
And we're supposed to say, oh, you're an expert, but
and at the same time though, they're like, okay, so there's that whole engineers, the 9/11 engineers are truth, like the engineers for 9/11 truth or whatever. I can't think of what the fucking group is called right now, but those guys, they're like, we're engineers, structural engineers, and we know that this would be impossible or whatever. But like once again, they're a small fringe group. It's like maybe 3% of the world's engineers think that 9/11 was an inside job. The other 97 are like, no, you guys are all wrong.
But there's a huge argument for it.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, and that's the thing. I'm not a fucking structural engineer, so it's like any point that I try to make is going to be stupid and regurgitated.
Yeah, we could probably tell you why the cabinets broke, not why that building fell down.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's funny too because like because of things like 9/11 and let's shy away from 9/11 because we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But like because of things like MK Ultra and all these different conspiracies like the Gulf of Tonkin and things like the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which is where that got us into Vietnam War. They sunk a ship and made it look like it was the Vietnamese, and then that's how we got into Vietnam. Do you know about that?
I'm not well versed in that one.
Yeah, so that was
probably should be because we fought a war over.
Well,
it.
dude, there's so many declassified documents you could obsess over how many times the government's fucked up, but I mean,
I know that their warfare was very questionable, and
I'm sure it still is, and I'm sure that there's probably still programs going on like MK Ultra that we don't know about.
Yeah, like serious things.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, dude, try to put yourself in that position, like. It'd be really hard. Like, I don't know, man.
I worked with a guy at Coeur Wood, and he worked for a government defense. BAE is what it's called.
Yeah,
like government defense stuff, and some of the things he could, I don't know how much was bullshit or whatever. But, it's just crazy how far ahead they think, and how they're infiltrating or how they want to, and.
Yeah, dude.
It's scary to think that that's our government.
Yeah, especially with technology. Like, I bet they have shit right now.
There's Transformers.
Oh, yeah, dude. I know firsthand.
Yeah, Eric is a Transformer.
It's a long story, folks.
Yeah, we jumped off shit with that one.
So
back to technology.
Yeah, dude, I'm sure that they have so much technology that we don't know about. I mean, dude, like cell phones and stuff, like they were doing that shit way before we were with satellite phones and stuff like that. And most technology that's around is made because of the military. Most, you know? So it's like, you got to wonder what kind of cool shit that they're dealing with.
That they won't let us know about.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't believe some fucking blog.
No, that's the problem. Is there's like a fascination with how we're growing, but then other people are like, they got shit that'll like make shit your pants, man.
Yeah, like we have a friend. I'm not going to call them out, but we have a friend who was talking about how the government has these like fighter jets that have an electromagnetic shield around them, so they can shield bullets and shit. And I'm just like, dude, nah. Like, come on, bro. Like, you watched fucking, what's that movie with Will Smith? Independence Day. You must have like watched Independence Day and then had a dream later on and then somehow thought you saw that. Cause he said he saw it,
Oh, he did.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Oh.
It's like, wait, what?
What did you see?
What? So, dude, like, were you high when you thought this up? You know what I mean? Like, I could think of some real cool shit.
Oh, yeah. Make it sound really good, too.
Yeah, totally.
That's what authors do.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
maybe he should write a book.
Yeah, but the science isn't there yet.
No. Well, do we know?
Do we know? Yeah. Or what's have you you know who Tom DeLonge is? He was in Blink-182. He was like the bassist, I think, or something. Or maybe the singer. I don't know.
Then maybe, yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the guys in Blink-182. He's worth like $100 million. Kid's super rich, But he's like big into like alien technology, and he claims
is he the one you were telling me like invested or wants to invest a bunch of money
in
the Mars program or something?
No, he has this company that's called like, fuck, dude, I'm butchering this right now. I can't think of what the company is. No, Academy of Space, or no, like To the Stars Academy. That's what it's called. I think it's To the Stars Academy, and it's basically like this school where you can like, sign up to learn about alien technology, and the aliens have been here and all this crazy shit. And he's like claiming that he knows all this inside information, like, that the government has told them stuff. But, like if you watch interviews with them or watch like, he's done like big talks in front of groups and stuff. He's always just like, yeah, I can't get too far into it, but basically I know some stuff that you guys don't know, and send me $10,000
and I'll tell you about it
someday.
Yeah. There's not even a guarantee.
No, there's no guarantee. It's just like, we're working on a bunch of stuff, and we have a bunch of scientists and really smart folks here, and
one big scam. It sounds like
that's what it sounds like to me too. But the dude's got $100 million, so it's like, I mean, it okay. I don't think that any of the shit that he's selling is real. I don't think that. I think that he's full of shit. Do I know why he's full of shit? I don't get it. You know,
like, does he actually believe it, or like, exactly. What's his angle?
What's his angle? Like, I don't think he's like intentionally scamming people. When I listened to him talk about it, and he talks about how, you know, he met with all these government officials in these secret locations, and you know, I'm really important to them. It makes me feel like he watched like a really cool CIA movie. And then he like made this whole story that he's talking about happen. Maybe like he like tried to meet with government officials and they met in a secret location, and he
like feels he's Jason Bourne or something.
Yeah, like he feels like he's Jason Bourne or some shit. Like I don't know that. I have a friend that invested into it, you know?
Yeah.
And this was like, I want to say a year ago or maybe 2 years ago. And I just want to ask him, like, so how you feeling about that?
Yeah.
Not in a douchey way. You know what I mean? I just want to genuinely know how he feels about it, but I don't want him to think I'm being a douche about it. But I just genuinely want to know if he still thinks that this is a possibility.
Well, you should just ask him, you know, because now I want to know. It sounds, you know, it's almost like the Space Force, but different, you know?
Yeah, dude, Trump should have like...
I'm sure him and Trump are talking.
Yeah, dude.
That's his government official.
Him, Alex Jones, and Trump are just gonna get together and fix all of the world's problems.
I don't know what this guy sounds like, but like I know Alex Jones and Trump sound. Can you imagine the sound of that conversation?
Yeah, that was just like, okay, here's what we need, Alex. We need something to be really big, really huge. Do you know anybody? And he's like, yeah, I know this guy, Tom DeLonge. He's got all the insider information of the interdimensional beings. And then Tom DeLonge is going to be like, yeah, bro. So,
yeah.
So I know these guys. You might know them, Trump, since you're the president, but I can't tell you who they are.
Send me $10,000.
Yeah, if you send me $10,000, I'll think about it.
And I'll write you a song of Blink-182.
I know. I wonder, dude, because Travis Barker is just this total badass dude. Like,
I wonder what he thinks.
I wonder.
About
he probably is just like, Tom, shut the fuck up. You're making us look psycho. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you could find that in an interview somewhere. Maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe we should find that out.
Look it up.
Yeah, like I want him to. I just want him to. He probably like won't go too far into it. He seems like the kind of guy that's not looking for any controversy. You know,
Travis Barker.
Yeah,
he's stayed pretty quiet.
He has. I think. Yeah, lucky him.
Yeah,
dude. Most
and he's
of these
a good drummer too.
Oh, so good.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he's so good. Yeah, I'd say that he's one of the better ones.
Oh, for sure.
I'd like to kick it with him.
Yeah, he seems like a cool dude. Yeah. He's got like 7 kids or something.
Holy fuck.
I don't know if that's true. I know he's
got a lot. He's multiplying himself.
But
do they have tattoos?
Travis Barker?
No, just his kids.
Oh, probably.
He should get the whites of their eyes tattooed.
He's probably thought about it. He's probably got him contacts. Like he can look cool without the pain.
Did you see that those 2 MS-13 guys just got the whites of their eyes tattooed and fucked up and they're blind because of it or something?
They are?
Yeah.
I didn't even... Is that a thing? Can you actually do that?
Yes.
And still see?
Yes. Yeah, dude. So it's different than a normal tattoo, though. It's not like you take an ink gun and you put it and you tattoo the whites of your eyes. What you do is you take tattoo ink and you put it in a syringe, and then there's a small barrier. There's 2, like... Basically, right behind the surface of the eye, there's a barrier where fluid sits in there, and then you inject that with the blue ink or red ink or black ink or whatever color.
Yeah.
And dude, when you see people that have done it with black ink, it is like they crawled out of hell.
Ew.
Oh, it's so creepy.
Can you ever like?
No,
it's
like
permanent. Tattoos you can get lasered off.
Yeah, no, it's permanent. Oh. Yeah, dude, and it's become this thing in prisons. You know.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've seen it because I've seen weird photos, but I always thought they were just drugged out, you know?
Yeah, dude.
Probably looks the same.
Well, they probably are. They probably are drugged out. Because, I mean, like, dude, I like tattoos. That's one road you can't ever turn away from. No. Once you choose that path, you're fucked.
And like these guys are ending up blind.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, dude, well, it's super dangerous because so with those 2 walls, there's the top wall that's like the surface, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then like, if you don't get it just barely past the surface, then you go too far and you inject it into your eyeball, which is like where all the crazy shit that I don't understand is, you know? so like these dude, like, why risk it? You know what I mean? Like, no, thank you. Why?
No.
first of all, most of these guys are doing it in prison anyways. So what kind of syringe are you dealing with?
Oh, fuck. How small can it be?
Well, and like, where'd it come from, dude? Like some
asshole?
some junkie that just shot fucking meth into his dick, and you're just like, can I borrow that?
I'll fucking clean it.
Yeah, no, thank you.
They're pretty smart, with the tools they're giving in there.
Yeah. They figure shit out that I don't know if I want to be a part of it.
No.
I'm glad I never went to prison.
But if you have to live there, I guess you're gonna explore or try to figure something out.
Yeah, dude. Like there was this chick that was, I think she might have been MS-13 as well, but her mugshot was going around the internet a while back because she got arrested for like burglary or some shit. And she was like tattooed from like head to toe and then had the whites of her eyes black. And she looked so scary. Ew. And for some reason I was kind of like, is she attractive or is she not attractive? Like, is this a unicorn or is this like the devil?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, she definitely wasn't attractive. Don't get me wrong. But like, I was just thinking like,
trying to look past the tattoos and stuff.
Well, maybe not look past it. Like even just something about the whole, like
the look.
Yeah. The look. Like she will fuck up anyone.
Yeah. Don't mess with her.
Yeah. Don't mess with her. She'd probably pull a gun and shoot you in the asshole just to do it. You know what I mean? Like,
do I want to date that?
That level of crazy is just kind of interesting to me. I don't know why. It's not a good thing.
Can you imagine like being in a relationship and just getting in one of those small quarrels that you do with her, and her just probably pull a knife on you,
start talking something that I don't really even believe in. Like, like most of the discussions Kendra and I have are just like things that I don't really believe the shit that I'm saying, but I can totally just be arguing the point just to not really even play devil's advocate, but strictly just to see what. I mean, I do this with people all the time.
Yeah, you do.
I like to like explore the conversation even though I don't agree with what I'm saying. It's just like, well, what do you think about this, and then but with her I'd be like, ask her something, about why I think like females wearing dildos isn't a good idea, and she'd be like, I'm gonna fuck you with one later.
Yeah. Wrong topic to bring up. Boy.
I'm gonna teach you a lesson.
Start speaking Latin.
Yeah. So I don't know. I personally, I wouldn't date her.
Yeah, I don't think
No.
Because I like looking into Brooke's eyes. She's, and if you got black eyes.
The windows to the soul. Yeah, black.
It's just like, hey, are you in there?
Yeah,
like almost like they're asleep. Yeah. You never know when to really talk to them.
No shit. I know. It's like,
like, and not to be rude, but like when a blind person, when their eyes are open, and they don't, and it's like, okay, I can see them looking, kind of, but they're not.
Yeah, no kidding.
Can wave and
I know. Well, I remember when we were kids, and one of the. Wasn't it like, remember Mrs. Peterson, the old lady that lived behind me? I think her daughter was blind.
The one that yelled at us all the time?
Yeah. Yeah, I think her daughter, she was like an older lady because Mrs. Peterson was like 400 years old.
Yeah.
But I think her daughter was blind or deaf. And I just remember that her daughter's daughter, so her granddaughter, would always I think she was deaf because she would always talk shit on her mom with her mom right there.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Oh. And I was just like, whoa, what the fuck? And she's like, nah, she can't hear us. I was just like, okay. Oh my God.
That's what I would do though.
Yeah, probably. I could see you doing that.
Yeah, I would best. I've told Brooke that like if she was blind, it would be
so fun moving chairs in front of them.
Oh, or the things you could do.
I'm sure we're gonna get some blind blowback listeners there, but you know what? It's such a small percentage.
But you'll get listened to.
End up on like CNN next week or something. Well, this isn't the direction I thought my life was going. But
blind woman gets messed with.
Young Idaho guy, which is obviously racist because he lives in Idaho.
Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah, young Coeur d'Alene man thinks it's fun to put chairs in front of blind people.
Yeah.
And then there's just a picture of me, but they used one from like 5 years ago when I had dreads and was like looking real shitty.
Yeah. In your thug phase.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, dude.
Oh, God.
You would be a meme so quick.
I'd be a fast meme. I'm surprised I'm not one already, to be honest with you.
We'll start that.
Well, no, I do have a couple out there. There's a couple, yeah. But they're
if you have any Eric memes, send them to Eric so I can see them.
I'll show you some. I have a couple, but they're not. They're kind of funny, but they're not as good as like.
Probably had to be there for something.
Yeah, they're not as good as that girl, the crazy girl or whatever. Like I'm gonna come and find you in your bed, and she's got
with
the big eyes.
The big eyes. Yeah. Oh man, she creeps me out.
She creeps me out. Yeah, dude. Every man in the world is afraid of that look.
Oh, especially if they're an ex.
Yeah,
and they're like that. You're like, oh, we need to move.
Yeah, we need to move. Change the numbers.
Yeah.
Lose the fingerprints.
Yeah,
everything can't be traced after that.
Go full Men in Black style.
Oh yeah, dude. Like,
delete.
Okay,
everything.
I guess I'll volunteer in the Congo for the next 10 years. Get away from these fucking people.
Do what Dave Chappelle did. Just go to Africa.
Yeah, just exactly.
Oh man.
But then all of a sudden you'd probably get some sort of like integration into the culture, and then there'd be a BBC documentary about you, and then she'd know right where you live.
Oh, like 20 years later, you're famous. And
BBC would be like, this is a man who moved here to get away from his psycho ex-girlfriend, and now he lives among the lions.
I found him.
She's been watching every news article for the last 20 fucking years.
She calls her booking agent. She's like, it's Africa. Book the tickets.
Book the tickets. I'm going. She's like, all I need to do is get a little bit of semen, and then we'll be connected by child.
You can just hear the psycho music playing.
Oh God!
How do we get on this topic?
I don't know, dude. That's the thing about podcasts.
Yeah.
You start talking about flat earthers and end up at lions and shit. So I don't know.
That's what this is what our day is like every day.
Yeah,
in between machine sounds and headphones.
Yeah. Asking about fucking robots and things like that.
Yeah, that threw me off that day you asked me that.
Yeah. Well, okay, so today there was one I wanted to ask you about that I didn't get to, but like with this virtual reality shit,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really interesting that like there's people that are making this virtual reality, and they want to see, like, you put on the glasses and then you see you can see like fucking dinosaurs break open the walls of your house and stuff. But like it's I think it's called augmented reality. So there's virtual reality, which is like you put on the glasses and you only see what's inside the glasses.
Yeah.
But then there's augmented reality, where it's like you're wearing like sunglasses or something.
It's like a filter.
Right. And it's like a filter, and then there's like 3D stuff that comes out at you.
Right. I've seen that, but in big scales, like projected on buildings and stuff. Right. A few weird things, but
yeah. So I thought it was interesting. Like, I was thinking about how like our whole culture is so against psychedelics, because of hallucinations.
Yeah.
Like, like I'm afraid to see something that's not there or whatever.
It's because they can't control it.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the fun in psychedelics, though, right?
For some people.
Yeah.
But other people like.
Well, they need to do them more because, like,
if you don't like it.
Yeah. That's okay.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I just got.
It's
sorry.
a mic. I'll turn it down later. Don't worry about it.
All right.
But
that scared me a little bit.
But yeah, so with psychedelics, if you are too afraid to let go for a couple of hours, and like experience something like totally elusive of yourself, then you're like a little bit too clinged on to your identity.
Yeah.
And that's not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're too rigid. Like, and I understand it, like, I understand, because I used to be like that, before I ever tried them or whatever. I used to be like that, right?
Yeah.
But I think that, like, I don't know. I think it's really interesting. Like, I guess my fear, and this is kind of funny because most people's fears are like fears of people doing LSD or something and then jumping off a fucking, a building.
Yeah.
But my fear is the same thing with augmented reality. Like, what if these people put these fucking glasses on and then all of a sudden they're having a hard time distinguish between reality and what's not real?
Like they forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're driving their car and a fucking dinosaur pops out of the road and they swerve and fucking hit oncoming traffic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you definitely shouldn't be able to wear it while you're driving. I think.
But dude, like, are you telling me that you don't think people are gonna do that?
Oh, I would.
Yeah, dude. You text and drive, I text and drive, right? So like people text.
Dude, you just threw me under the bus.
sorry, bro. I mean, you never text and drive. I never text and drive,
And
but
we
there's a
wear
lot
our
of
seatbelts
dummies
every
out
day.
there. Yeah, there's a lot of dummies out there that do.
Yeah.
I'm not in that group.
No, nope. We're not a part of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're like, I mean, I wouldn't drive every day with a mom, but I would definitely try it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and not in like downtown Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but that would kind of be fun.
Not to throw myself under the bus here, but I have driven on psychedelics before. Not very many times. It's probably not the best decision, but
man, was it fun.
Well, you know, and so it's like that's the same thing though, right? It's
so
like
that's
to
your
a
fear?
certain extent. So it's just like I don't recommend anybody ever drive on psychedelics, and I damn sure don't recommend anybody ever drive on augmented reality
or a virtual reality set.
Oh God, virtual reality.
That's that's kind of what's happening with the Pokemon Go game.
That's my point exactly.
Yeah,
that's my point exactly.
So
like, what if they're driving down the highway? They have augmented reality. They see a Pokemon on the side of the road. They swerve, hit the fucking center intersection. They don't even care about their car. Really?
I'm sure.
Yeah, dude.
Kids have stepped off cliffs.
Well, yeah, and this is the problem with that generation, dude. I don't know. I shouldn't say I sound like an old man.
Well, we have friends that still play it. You know?
Oh, really?
And yeah, like we went to Missoula one time, and it was for Brooke's birthday, and I remember getting there, and we went out to a bar, and they were like, we got to go real quick. There's a Pokemon outside. And I was like, don't mess with me.
No way, dude.
Yeah. And then later that night, I'm like, you know,
you're still
drunk. And I'm like, all right, what are you doing? Just looking at your phone, you know? And it was weird to think that it was that close.
Yeah.
And they were my age.
I've actually never seen it or know what it is. I mean, like I've heard of it, you know, I know that you're like collecting them or something.
Yeah.
Which, dude, what a good idea by Pokemon, because they were done.
Oh,
and they brought
it
back, dude.
Dude, we had a collection in the day.
I still have it.
Do you?
Well, my mom does.
I have a few cards.
I still have Charizard, Blastoise, all those motherfuckers.
Do you remember like getting cards off people?
Yeah.
The stuff you and I used to do, like drop them on the ground and like lure them away so we could pick their cards up.
Oh my God, I do, dude. It was so bad. I do remember trading cards. I traded Charizard for I traded someone for Charizard, and the next day the kid was like, I want that card back. And I was like, too late, dude. Like,
it's probably Skylar.
Probably. Fuck him. No, Skylar, if you're listening to this, fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. We'll play Pokemon Go together.
I don't even think we ever played the game.
Yeah,
either.
no, that's the crazy thing about it. It was like this weird it was like Pogs to a whole nother level. Dude.
Oh, I forgot about we had Pogs.
Yeah,
too.
dude, Pogs were the thing.
For some reason those my Pogs are gone. My Pokemon cards and Pogs.
Yeah, I know. I now looking back on it, was like, how did I ever get girls? Well, I was only in what was that, 4th grade?
Yeah.
I mean, I still got them too.
Yeah, you did. Just so everyone knows, you know, Eric is a big kid now.
I'm a big kid now.
We both are.
Yeah.
We haven't changed much. We're just a little more serious and have jobs.
Just a small amount. The small amounts change. We have to pay bills now.
Yeah.
But man, would I love to go back to not doing that.
Oh, back to the only fear was not forgetting your sister on the bus.
Yeah. I wonder if Sierra remembers that and she's like traumatized from it, and that's like why she doesn't like to be separated from me in public.
Should ask her.
Yeah, I should. She's like every time we hang out, she's just like, no, don't go.
Don't. I don't know if I'll ever see you again. Yeah. Like all the trust is gone.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. Oh,
that was a bad day.
I know. I still don't think that if she's listening to this right now, I feel like I should come clean about fucking around in her car, you know?
Oh.
I never told her. She doesn't know, you know?
Well, now she does.
Well, only because of this podcast.
Yeah.
But when I first moved back up here, Sierra, my sister, she, like, I was telling her about MK Ultra and how they used to like do this weird shit where they would break into people's houses, and they would like if there's a picture on the left side of the hallway and a picture on the right side of the hallway, they would reverse it just to see how people reacted, and they would like watch them, you know?
Or if they noticed, right?
Yeah, to see if they would notice, and they would just fuck with people's head like that. So after a while, people would be like, "What the fuck? I know for sure that picture is on that side, and this was on that side." And then so I had a spare key to my sister's car, and I was telling her about all of this shit. And then every time, like, she lived kind of by my dad, so every time I drive by her house, I would like drive by her house just, and you know, if she was inside, her car was outside, I'd stop and like move her air freshener around, or like if she had anything in the car, I'd move it around a little bit just to fuck with her head.
Just subtle little things.
Yeah. So I'm curious if she even knows that if she knows it was me. Maybe she like, you know, like she started thinking it was the government.
You're just traumatizing her all over the board here.
Yeah. Well, dude, that's what big brothers are for.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, my big brother's traumatized me, so I know exactly where she would be.
He's a part of the club. And I'm the oldest, so I never had to deal with any of that bullshit.
Oh, dude, you're so lucky.
Yeah, but
well,
I mean,
we were having this talk.
Yeah.
What, the other day or today actually?
About
the difference in years between my brother and I, and the parenting you get, and all that jazz. But
yeah, basically, I think, I don't know this for sure, but I think the first kid with the parents makes the parents want to kill themselves.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Moments.
Yeah, oh yeah, because you have one.
I have a mini me.
Yeah, dude, I forget. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, dude, and she's so young right now.
Yeah, she's like the age we were when we started hanging out, or you know, a little older. But
yeah,
it's crazy. It's a
trip. But you're a good parent. You know, like I feel like with your kid, like you're not going to have quite as many problems because you're super open with her. You know.
Yeah.
And like I think that if like Kendra and I had a kid, it'd be similar to that. Like we would like, you know, don't do drugs, but if you do drugs, it's okay, and we'd like to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, well, because it's it doesn't make sense to, you know, try to pound it in, or you know, or
well, I mean,
just honesty is such a big deal, and if you're not honest with your kids, then that trait goes on.
Right. Yeah. And then for someone like me, if I was like, don't ever do drugs, they're terrible.
Yeah.
You know, and then I was like, and don't do bad things. Don't ever get arrested. I'm just like checking off everything that I've done.
Yeah, Dad, you know? We've heard enough stories to where like, we're not going to listen to you.
Yeah, they just do a quick Google search, and then they're like, okay, Dad, fuck off. And then they'd really not trust me, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. When you're young enough, though, and you don't know that, you can still preach it. But at some point, you know, she's probably gonna catch me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I always wondered, like, because, you know, like, I would never try to control my kid. I wouldn't, but you know, I wouldn't want them to go into religion, but I would not tell them not to go in religion.
Right.
You know, like, I think that religion is a pitfall, and I don't think that it's healthy and all that stuff. And I think that it creates a life of bullshit. But, but like, I've always wondered, like, if I had a kid, you know, I could just tell them science and all these things. But if they have that, you know, go to church and have spiritual moment with their friends or whatever, they might, you know, interpret that as like some sort of divine thing or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, they're going to ask you about it.
Oh, I'm sure. What. And I'm just going to be like, everybody dies forever.
The first time Harley asked me about Jesus, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I diverted it to Brooke. Like,
oh, really?
We were in the car.
That might have been a bad move.
Well, here's the thing. I told her, I was like, you know, everybody looks at it different, but you should ask Mommy Brooke this. And because I was not, it was the first time. And I'm like, oh, I can't influence.
Right.
Because I'm not huge into religion.
Right.
But, or at all, really. But it's still, like you're saying, you can't.
Yeah, you can't.
Such a big deal.
Yeah. And it's really, I think.
For a young kid, too, they're going to latch onto that right now harder than ever.
Right. And that's kind of my fear with it. So I think that's why I always wanted to, like, a lot of atheist friends of mine that have kids are kind of like, you know, they're like, you shouldn't tell your kids about Santa Claus. You shouldn't tell your kids about the Easter Bunny and all this stuff. And I'm just like, why? And then their perception is because it sets them up to believe in fake shit, and then they'll believe in religion.
Yeah.
But my thing is if you do that and then later on say, look, this was imaginary, you know, sometimes people like to believe in these myths.
Yeah.
And then later on, when that question comes up, you can kind of say it's like the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus. It's a myth. People like to believe
but we
it.
did it for, because you were a kid. Maybe it's like a childhood tradition type thing. Doesn't mean you have to believe in religion.
Right.
But you have to trust your kids
to make their own decisions.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think too many people nowadays
try to impose,
just so they can be right.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's, and like, I think what tends to happen is that they tend to do the opposite, So like, that's why
not care enough.
Well, no, just like kids will tend to do the opposite of whatever their parents think is good. So
yeah.
So then it's like, you're like, don't do this, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna do that.
Definitely gonna do that.
Yeah. So it's like, I feel like as long if you tell the kids like, look, I wouldn't do it. I've made those mistakes before, but I want you to learn for yourself and like figure things out a little bit on your own. Like, don't get in the fucking car with a stranger. Don't learn that on your own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Teach them the big points.
Yeah.
Don't take candy from a stranger.
Yeah. If there's any, if you see a man wearing no shirt and really short shorts, get the fuck out of there. rubbing his belly.
Yeah. Run. Just go.
Run and yell.
Yeah. Don't let them figure that out on their own. But big things, definitely. And it also gives your child more room to grow in their own mind.
Right.
Without all this stuff like, oh, I think I should do this for my parents. And it's an extra worry, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's super interesting. I think that the biggest thing with parenting is probably just like, there's no right or wrong way to do it. I mean, obviously beating your kids and raping your kids is the wrong way.
There's the far wrong.
Yeah.
Definitely in bad choices. But no, just loving them. Just being there for them, I think is the best.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though, because like now you have so many different outside influences that determine what love for your kid is. Like,
there's
Hollywood.
There's checklists for it and stuff, you know, because of media and all this. And that was hard. Money helps too when you're raising a kid. Weird talk.
Yeah, like that's so true.
I remember when I was first years of Harley, I was just bad with money, and we still got by, obviously, but it was it was crazy, and then I kind of forgot the point I was going. I had a point with that.
Well,
but
being a parent is hard. That's the point.
Yeah.
I think that like that's
what I was going for is it's harder. I think nowadays people think they're getting judged on their parenting, because of social media.
Well, they probably are.
Yeah.
And that's like, but the main thing is not to give a fuck what anybody else thinks, because
don't worry about an image for your kids.
Well, yeah, and the people that are judging you are probably doing the wrong things themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always find that to be real interesting. Like, it's like I have friends that are vegan, and I was vegan for a long time, but it's like they're vegan and they think that what you're doing when you eat animals is so immoral. And then there's someone like me. I always buy elk or, really expensive meat. Like I don't buy shit from factory farms,
Yeah.
So it's like, I know where my meat's sourced from. So it's a good, sustainable way of eating meat. Right.
Right.
But then I have friends that are vegan that think I'm a fucking animal because I eat what everybody else has for the last millions of years. And they think I'm like an animal for it. And then they go buy a vegetarian meal at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude,
you're so disconnected.
So like you have no idea where any of the shit that you're putting in your fucking face comes from. And like,
but it's easy.
So that's kind of the thing is like, they're totally judging me for eating meat. I don't give two fucks that they only eat salad.
Yeah.
Or whatever, and just so everybody listening knows, I don't think that vegans only eat salad. I used to be vegan. I was vegan for 5 years and I ate a shitload more than just salad. Okay. But my point is I don't judge anybody for being vegan. But when I was vegan, I judged everybody, and it was so cold.
For not being vegan.
Oh, dude, I was the worst. I was, dude. I was a part of that fucking army.
Oh,
So
I'm really glad we didn't talk.
Oh, me too, dude. I'm so glad that like a lot of people I know didn't know me back then. You know what I mean?
Like no offense or anything.
No, but it's crazy, dude. Like one thing with me though is, and I don't know if this sounds arrogant or what. I don't know what it sounds like, but is like with me for some reason, when I've been the biggest douche of my life, people have always still liked me.
Yeah.
Which is really surprising because I have been a douche. You know what I mean? Like people for the most part have liked me through that. And then when I got over it, like they're like, oh, okay, now Eric's into this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like it's kind of interesting. I've always
at your core, you're still the same guy. It's just you make some weird comments.
Dude, and I converted a lot of people to veganism.
Really?
Oh, dude, so many people.
Oh, and they're stuck there now.
Not really. No? Not most of them. Not most of them. It's kind of funny. Like my friend that's a vegan now thought I was fucking stupid the whole time I was doing it, you know, and still ate meat. And now he's a vegan, and I'm just like, dude, remember when you said I was stupid? I was stupid. You know, like, please remember, I was stupid and unhealthy, and you know, like it doesn't. And it's like it comes from the right place, right? Because inside, like, you want to do it because you want to save the animals. That was like my whole thing is I hated factory farming, right?
Yeah.
And the whole time I did it, I was always pro hunting, and same with Kendra. Her and I both were still pro hunting, you know, throughout the entire thing. And then it's like, then I got really sick, you know, and I ended up in the hospital with Crohn's and all this stuff. And I started reading about the blood type diet. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Well, I don't know if it's true or not, but back then it helped me. I tend to believe it's not true. Like there's not very much medical research that's been done on it, but basically it's just that different blood types have different dietary needs.
Oh.
And so like type O, it kind of does, but it also kind of doesn't. Like there's reasons there. I think basically nobody should be eating processed food. Like, and this diet.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah. So, and I think that this diet, so basically the way that this diet works is type O and type O negative are like the oldest, most primitive blood. Because there's like different periods of time where people had different blood types. And so type O and type O negative is the longest lasting. That's what most people had throughout evolution was type O. And then there's type A, there's type B, there's type AB, and different types
negative.
Yeah. And so like type A, I think came on afterwards. So like when you look at periods of history where the bloods were the most prominent, that's like the dietary needs that they should live by. So like if type A was around when farming and agriculture first came around, then that means like people should stick to like a grain, kind of like grains and stuff
similar
like that.
To that,
you know,
period.
Okay. And type O should stick to like paleo, which is like, you know, like more like meats and, you know, seeds and just blueberries and shit like that.
Kind of what a caveman would eat.
Right. And so so that was like, for me, I'm type O negative. So for me, that helped a lot because I was like, oh, I should start eating paleo, you know?
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to think that most people should just eat paleo because it's like no sugar, you know, they're like no shitty sugar, like the stuff that's in like high fructose corn syrup.
Today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. None of that. It's like
it's so hard to escape that.
Dude, it's so hard.
And it's more expensive too.
Especially for me. Because I love sugar. I mean, like, I'm totally addicted, you know?
I smoke cigarettes and you eat
I struggle with sugar, yeah. So it's, you know.
And I didn't think you were serious at first, you know?
Well,
but it definitely
I didn't think I was either, but I think that has a lot to do with my IBS. Because, like, because from what I've been reading a lot about lately is that there's this thing called SIBO, which is where it stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And so the bacteria in your large intestine grows into your small intestine. And like the large intestine, like per fluid ounce, I think there's like 100 or 100 billion bacteria in that, like that little amount of fluid in your large intestine. But in your small intestine, there's only like 10,000 per ounce.
Less, man.
No.
Or more.
Period. There's only 10,000.
Period.
Period. So it's like way less, right? So it's not healthy to have a lot of bacteria in your small intestine because it doesn't do the same thing as what your large intestine does.
Right.
And so SIBO happens with a lot of people that have, you know, the diseases or whatever that I have, Crohn's and shit. And so with Crohn's, it's like, and having SIBO, when you have SIBO, the bacteria that grows into your small intestine makes you want to eat a lot of sugar. And so,
really?
Yeah. So that's
weird.
Well, it's crazy. It like almost
it's weird that it messes with your mind.
Totally does, dude. And it's and there's so much scientific evidence now when this stuff came out in like the 60s and 70s, when people first started saying that we had like a microbiome and there's bacteria that influence our mind, people didn't believe it. They thought it was crazy voodoo science, you know? And now they know that certain bacteria crave certain things and it influences the mind.
Wow. So it's not just like a Frankenstein theory or
no,
anything.
No. There's like, I mean, mad fucking research. Cause there's like, there's like some bacteria that crave sugar. There's some that crave starchy carbs. There's some that crave meat. They're, you know, like all these different things.
So do you think that's what causes your sugar cravings?
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Cause I have never been like this before where I fucking pass gas stations and I'm like, oh my God, I really should stop and get a fucking, you know.
Yeah.
Dude, okay. For the last, like, I want to say I'm 27.
Yeah. Yes, you are. Our birthdays are like 2 days apart.
Yeah. So we're 27. I'm 27. I don't think in the last 10 years, dude, I honestly don't think that I have ever had a candy bar. I can't think of a single time that I've had a candy bar in the last 10 years until recently.
I was just going to say, like, I've seen you mow some candy bars.
Yeah, dude. But that's because of SIBO.
Yeah. But that makes sense now, you know?
Yeah, now it makes sense. And I'm just like, I feel like a terrible person.
Do you think that, like, in the future could be what causes zombies?
Maybe.
If they do come?
Yeah. Or maybe we're already like zombies. Because, dude, I mean, if you think about it, like, I'm not, okay, like, obviously that sounds like a fucking crazy statement, but if you think about it,
in a way,
how are you
craving sugar?
Yeah, you're craving, you're not really in total control of your actions.
Yeah, those bacteria are.
Yeah, dude. And like, they're influencing your decisions, and other things are influencing your decisions too. Like, you know, like smelling certain scents influences your decisions, and, you know, like sounds influence your decisions and increase adrenaline. And if you hear loud bangs, your heart rate increases. So
changes
it's like
your,
but
it's like reality though, you know?
Right.
Like,
but how much of reality do you really control? I mean, that's
when you put it like that,
it doesn't seem like much, right?
Yeah, but there's also free will.
Is there?
Are we gonna go down this one?
I don't know.
Because this is like consciousness, you know, I don't
personally, I don't believe that there is free will.
You don't?
No.
You think it's predetermined, or
I guess you could say predetermined, but
we're like a machine.
Like a machine. I think that consciousness is a result of like neurotransmissions that like make us believe that we have free will as an evolutionary byproduct to help with a survival. I think that being self-aware is the best way for us to procreate, and I think that that's why we do it. I know it sounds crazy.
No, I mean, I can see your point. I believe along the same tracks, only that free will is a part of that. And I don't believe that because we have free will, you know, that there's any type of religion, you know, or anything like that.
Well, I mean, dude, okay, so like
if I want to pick up this jar of water, I'm gonna pick it up.
So what if I told you that they could hook you up to like a brain, you know, like fMRI, and they could tell you before you were gonna pick up the water that you're about to pick up the water?
I would believe you because you told me this, and I still find it extremely scary.
It is scary, right? People don't want to believe that they're not in control of their own actions.
But do you think that it's not just because we're not in control, but because our subconscious,
subconscious?
That kind of goes against my point in this instance. But like
because okay, so let's think about
where your free will
about what subconscious is, though, right? So the subconscious mind is the part of the mind that we really don't like feel or whatever, right? That's the part of the mind that kind of acts when we like whenever
running in the background.
Right. It's running in the background, right?
Yeah.
So the subconscious mind is the part of us that we don't really control.
Yeah.
Right. Or think we control, right? And so if there's a subconscious, maybe that is just the neurons that are helping decide things before it comes into our quote unquote conscious mind. And that's the part of the mind that we just realize that we should be acting on it. Like, have you ever been driving home and you like are kind of tired or whatever, and you're just flowing with the motions, and then you get home and you're like, dude, I have no idea how I just got through all those stoplights. I don't know how I decided make those turns.
Yeah.
And now I'm here.
You're
zoned out.
Yeah.
But you realize that you literally don't remember a single part of it because you zoned out so much that it's like you couldn't remember. Like if I asked you what color the car was next to you at that light, you couldn't even remember that, right?
Yeah.
Like things like little blips of that are always happening. And it's like when you're at work and you're just doing things and you're fucking sanding or doing whatever, it's like once you get that muscle memory of like what you're supposed to do and you really don't have to think about it, you just do it.
Yeah.
You don't even think about it. It's not even part of your consciousness, really. You're just like for me, I'm listening to podcasts. I'm really focused on that, but I'm doing all this shit.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, I'm like, what did I do today? What
did we do today? Yeah. It's you're right.
Yeah. So it's like, I wonder if,
but you chose to do all of that.
Did you? I mean, that's the thing. Okay. So like the reason I'm saying it like this is because like when you think back to okay, like first of all, did you choose your parents? No, right? Did you choose where you were born? No. Okay. So that alone is influencing who you become as a person, right?
Sure.
So everything that has ever led up to this moment is really the deciding what makes you identify with who you are as an individual or whatever you want to say.
The chance of you being you.
Right. And the only reason that you are you is because you had all of these things happen that went up to this event.
Right.
And so it's like when you have all these things that happen that led up to this event and you make that decision based on all of this past history and you just think that's the decision to make in that moment of time, like that is really the result of everything else happening before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you really like in that moment are the deciding factor of it. You're basing it off of a whole series
you're like a
of
part
shit.
of an equation.
Yeah, you're deciding off of a whole series of shit that happened before, right?
Yeah.
So it's like even without like thinking about the neuro fucking physical activity and all that crazy shit, like, and you're just thinking about just the like how every moment influences the next. It's almost like, well, is that really free will? Because at the core of it, you didn't really make the initial decisions that sparked off your entire life.
No,
and
but you have to, like you're saying, you have to deal with all of that in that moment and make a decision no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I think that's cross paths. Like everyone's on that track and they cause those things that happen along the way too in their own unique experiences.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of like weird things that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
But I think
there's obviously a lot of people that have okay, so neuroscientists, for example, like most neuroscientists that aren't religious, because there are some neuroscientists that are religious, most neuroscientists tend to believe that free will is just an illusion,
Really?
Most, yeah. Because there are these fMRI tests where they can predetermine decisions that you're going to make.
But not, like how far ahead?
I mean, seconds.
Not by minutes, though, right?
Well, I mean, maybe in the future they will be able to. Yeah, but maybe in the future they'll be able to. Who knows? But I mean, if you can predetermine something before someone knows it, seconds before they know it, because that's what they're basing it off of, is basically they are reading your quote unquote subconscious mind.
Yeah.
Okay. And your subconscious mind is what's making a lot of these determinations. And then it comes to the conscious mind. But
I think that's where you and I are at a difference, because I think conscious, yes, but you're awake, you're conscious anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a different level. You know, your subconscious, it's still controlled by your wants and your needs. It's not like its own little alien.
So,
in there,
okay. So when you think about your wants and your needs, though, like that is an interesting thing in itself, because a lot of your wants and your needs are totally determined off of things that you might be lacking right now, in a way, like
things you don't really need,
or things that you think are going to bring forth a certain chemical reaction in the brain, like dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you make a decision to drink coffee, for example,
which I love,
which you love, and the reason that you love that is because it's giving you a certain chemical reaction in the brain that's making you have reward, right? And so that part of the brain that's making you have reward is really what's driving these decisions. And so it's like when you make a decision to go on a shopping spree, it's the same part of the brain that's getting that reward. And that reward, the dopamine, is part of our evolutionary history that made us succeed.
It's like a system of dopamine rewards
or serotonin or whatever.
Or adrenaline or
And so sorry, I didn't silence my phone, I guess. But so I totally fucking got distracted because of that. So, okay, let me ask you a question. Like, what's your favorite movie?
Forrest Gump.
Okay. So when you thought of Forrest Gump, right?
Yeah.
Like now you said one of them, like you mean like,
well, if I would say anyone that knows me would probably say that too. So yeah, okay. Forrest Gump.
Okay. So
it's just a classic and I love it.
Okay. So what if I asked you, what's the best movie?
Oh, well, see, I can't say.
Why?
Because that's not for me. That someone
that's like personal opinion or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so Forrest Gump, though, you think that's like that's your favorite movie?
Yeah.
But like that movie popped into your head right away, right?
Yeah.
And like, did you do anything aside from just hear the question that made you think of that?
No.
So what if you leave here and you realize, holy shit, I totally forgot I guess this movie is more like my favorite movie, Like what's your favorite song?
That's hard.
That is hard.
Yeah, because music means more to me than movies do.
Yeah, same here. I don't give a fuck about movies.
Yeah, well, I do. I love.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of bad, but like I see where you're going. It's how important that thing is to you versus.
Well, yeah, but it's also what comes to the forefront of the brain at that time.
Quick.
I mean, dude, there's so many times like where someone asks me a question and I say something and then I'm just like, fuck, why did I say it that way? I should have said it this way, But that's just what popped into my mind at that time, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like I don't think that we're doing anything to create these fucking decisions. I think that it's just like kind of autonomous. We're like doing it. And then throughout it, like we just like, it's hard to explain because dude, this is something that psychologists and have thought about for, thousands of years, right?
There's been many hours pondering this.
Right. And what I think
I'm sure you and I aren't going to figure it out right here.
Fuck. No, we're not. No, it might not ever be figured out. You know what I mean?
Probably
Honestly,
not.
Probably
if
not.
It is, then that's.
I think it'll always be an opinion thing.
Yeah,
but I think that there's a lot of science that suggests that. I really do. But
look at you, Mr. Science over there.
Well, okay, but there's also but it's funny to me that a lot of people that are religious tend to think that free will exists, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like the dude, that is like literally like the main thing that I hear from people. Like, well, if there's no religion, then free will wouldn't exist.
Well, that's only because they think God's controlling everything, right?
Well,
they're supposed to be.
But that's the irony in it, is they don't think that God controls it. Most people think that it's a hands-off thing, that you make the decisions and then God sits up there with his gavel and fucking decides whether or not you go to heaven or hell.
Yeah.
So it's like, but the thing is like if I'm religious and I think that free will is real, I just think that's kind of a contradiction almost, because if there is a God and God created the heavens and the earth or whatever, and they like, and he created the heavens and the earth, and then he can he can do all these things to you, like drown you or whatever, know, but he knows like the beginning and the end. He knows all these things. Like, that's predetermination, dude.
Yeah.
That's because he's determining that in the end there's going to be this fate, right? Mm-hmm. These people are going to go to hell. I already know that because I know everything, right? These people are going to go to heaven. I already know that because I know everything.
So it's not really like an experiment for him. It's like a
how could it be if the Bible, and we're just basing this off of Christian theology, obviously.
Yeah.
But if the Bible is true, right? And he knows revelations, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And because that's supposed to be the future, right?
Right.
Or whatever. If he knows that, and in the Bible it says that God knows everything. So it's like, if God knows everything, then why, like, how at all would this be an experiment? It would just be that he knows everything, and
with a few certainties, or
yeah, I don't think that if he knows everything, there's no way that he could be uncertain about anything because he knows everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, if he knows everything, then he knows everything that you're going to do as an individual throughout your life. And if he knows everything that you're going to do as an individual throughout your life, then to me, that's predetermination, because like he knows that you're going to do this and then wind up in hell or whatever, which I definitely would. Yeah, there's a plan, right?
Well,
God's plan.
Yeah.
And so that's, if there's a plan and it's God's plan, then that plan is being executed, which means that you're predetermined to go to hell. I'm predetermined to go to hell. Unless you find God in the next few years. And unless I find God in the next few years, who knows? You know, my mom seems to think I will.
My mom too.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus knows. Thanks, Mama.
I know. And so if we find God in the next few years, we'll be saved, I guess.
But don't you think, like, because when you told me about your point on this, you know, that the subconscious is running everything, it almost sounds like a godlike thing.
Dude, it's so funny you say that, because I have totally said that too to Kendra. Like, I've said that it's almost like it should be reversed.
That's what I'm.
You know what I'm saying? It should almost be reversed. But when you think about it like that. But
it still makes sense.
But I don't think that it's I don't think that it's a God thing, because I think that like basically I just think that it's neurochemicals, and that's part of evolution. I think that, like, when you think about small animals, you know, like there's this guy. Have you heard of Daniel Dennett? He's like a philosopher. Maybe. But Daniel Dennett has this thing. It's called like levels of free will, right? And there's like a mouse has more free wills than a fucking fruit fly, but a cat has more free will than a mouse, and a dog has more free will than a cat, and a dolphin has more free will than a dog, and a human has more free will than a dolphin, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of his whole thing. But I think that when you look at like why a fruit fly does what they do, it's
just to make more fruit flies.
Yeah, it's just instinctual. Yeah. You know,
that's awareness,
right? So they just do whatever they do throughout their life to like have food, water. I don't know if fruit flies drink water. They definitely don't use glasses
for like a day or something.
Yeah, they definitely don't use fucking glasses or anything like that. So
there's a blind fruit fly. You're fucked.
You're fucked.
Sorry.
Oh my God, flying into walls and fucking fly traps. So you only lived 3 hours instead of 6.
Yeah. What a sad life.
Sad life.
Fucking
yeah.
R.I.P. fruit fly. R.I.P.
But you know, so
they're less aware, or less
self-aware, I guess. But my point is that like when you look at a fruit fly, it's all based on survival instincts, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I look at a dog, I kind of think the same thing. You know,
you don't see like
with Bruno, for example,
like feelings and things like that.
No, I do. I just think that feelings are a part of it. I think that it's important for evolution to have feelings. You know, like when you look, when you look at your kid, there is oxytocin that's released, and oxytocin.
No, I don't care about my kid. So
fuck, I don't have oxytocin receptors.
I don't see nothing for that kid.
So oxytocin, and you know this is really incredible too. Oxytocin is released when you look at your kid. That's what when mothers hold their daughter, oxytocin is, they call it like the love chemical. It's like the thing that bonds the mother with the child. You know, it's like this really important part of fraternity. Okay. Dogs and humans are the only animals that secrete oxytocin when they look at each other. When a dog looks at their owner, like with Bruno, like I feel that, you know what I mean? Like I know that I have that same oxytocin release when I look at Bruno. Dogs and humans are the only humans and humans and dogs and humans. That's it. So
that's why you should be a dog person, not a cat person.
Yeah, no shit. My cat, I'd be performing scientific experiments and oh God. And you know that's true too with cats. They don't give a fuck, dude.
No, they don't.
They would eat your face.
But everyone thinks it's because they're smarter.
They're wrong.
But there's new information out that's actually dogs are smarter.
Dogs are way smarter. I could never tell my cat to go, like I can tell Bruno, go get water, and he will get up and go get water. You know? Like, so
A cat will just look at you.
A cat will just look at you and say, fuck off. And
but they think you're speaking Chinese.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Yeah.
The dog's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think that like when dogs do things, it's very instinctual. And I think that fear and love and all of these different emotions that, you know, dogs experience is just a part of evolution. And like for example, the need to form a pack, you know, like that is something that is extremely important for dogs to survive.
Yeah.
Right.
Almost anything.
Right.
Well, mostly in nature.
Sure. Well, yeah,
packs help.
Packs help. And that is one of the reasons why I think humans are like the best example of this kind of like why we're so intelligent and we develop these self-awareness and stuff like that is because we're such an intelligent animal that we really need that self-awareness in order to cohabitate with other humans, because through our evolution, we've developed all of these things that are like, you know, like for example, like it emotionally hurts me knowing that you would be fired, because if you succeed, I succeed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm going to look out for not only your best interest, but my best interest. And it's like that this is why, like, for example, like sometimes, you know, like in extreme circumstances, like someone like myself or like yourself would probably be like, you know what, why don't you eat first and I'll wait. And if there's some left over, I'll eat, you know, because we know that if that's authentic, there's been scientific studies on this. If this is authentic, then that authenticity means that next time that, you know, we're in this situation, you might choose to help me.
Right.
And that's truly scientifically proven. But humans are also extremely good at telling inauthenticity. So if you are not authentic about it, and like, let's say you just want to fuck me, okay? And so you're like, no, you eat first, okay? And I'm just like, you know what I mean? He just wants to fuck me.
Yeah.
and so
I don't think Paul would have hired me. Because again, we'd be getting nothing done.
Nothing done. We work with wood all day.
All day. What did we do yesterday? I don't remember.
We worked with wood. I know that for sure. Yeah. Nudge, nudge. So, but that inauthenticity though is so easy for us to see that we know that it's not actually indicative of our success, that you're actually just doing it for your success,
selfish,
and not the best of our success.
Right.
But when we all succeed, the group succeeds, which means evolution can continue.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's these crazy things that like you know, like when you really look into all these crazy things that humans do that are different than animals, for example, like, have you ever heard of I think it's like the M&M study? It's like they've done it with chimps and people with no frontal cortex, and then they've done it with people that have normal frontal cortexes like you and I.
I've heard about it.
Yeah. So what you do is I put one M&M in one hand and 5 in the other. Okay. And I tell you, like, let's do it with money instead. Cause who fucking cares about M&M?
And M&M's melt in your hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck that.
No, they don't. They melt in your mouth.
They say that, but
it's bullshit. Your hands turn colors. So
I guess I hold my M&M's too long.
Yeah. So I have $1 in one hand and $5 in the other, right?
Right.
And so I have you in front of me, and like, let's say that you have no frontal cortex because you've been punched in the head so many goddamn times. Okay. And so your frontal cortex is completely diminished. Somebody with no frontal cortex, I say, listen, Cody, if you grab the $5, I'm going to give you $1. But if you grab the $1, I'm going to give you 5, right? I can tell you that. And I just tell you, this is real simple. You grab 1, you get 5. You grab 5, you get fucked.
Yeah.
Okay. So I tell you that. And then I bring the money towards you, and you'll know the rules. You'll see the rules. You get the rules, everything. But because you have no frontal cortex, as soon as I get close to you, you reach out and grab the $5 and you get 1, right? And it doesn't make any sense. But someone that has a fully functional frontal cortex would obviously grab the 1 and get the 5.
Because of what you were told.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you're looking for the best outcome in the future. You're not thinking about now and only now. You're thinking about long-term planning, right? Yeah. And the frontal cortex helps with long-term planning. And interestingly enough, most animals have smaller prefrontal cortexes. Humans have the best prefrontal cortex.
Right.
So
they still have to plan certain shit.
So they have a small one, right?
Yeah.
They
like
don't
squirrels got to, plan for the winter, but
have you ever seen them do that? It's
in
weird.
documentaries, but
Dude,
they
no,
forget all the time.
I saw them do it here one time, and I thought I was tripping because it
Were
was
they burying stuff?
No, dude, they were hanging out in this tree and grabbing shit and throwing it to the ground.
Oh, really?
With their little hands. And I'm sitting there watching this squirrel do this, and I'm like, what in the fuck is this thing doing? I didn't know they did this, And
like,
so I'm
change out was he throwing stuff out of the nest or just certain
foods like nuts or whatever from this tree and just throwing them down to the ground. He's going to harvest them and put them, like, bury them for later.
Yeah.
I didn't know what he was doing. And I'm watching this. I thought I was watching a fucking movie or something. I was like, holy shit.
Is this real?
Yeah, I never knew they did that. So then I told my grandfather, and he was like, yeah, that's how they prepare for winter, dude.
They have lots of them.
Yeah.
And then they forget.
It's
actually a good source of meals for bears and other animals because they find these caches that these stone squirrels hide.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like bears coming out of hibernation and just other random animals.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
free meal.
that's the thing is, like, with humans, we have the biggest prefrontal cortex, which is
we
the
plan
most
for everything.
Retirement. We will literally, like, take 10% of our income now, which is totally could be aiding. Like, there are people that might make $600 a month, and they're going to take 60 out of their monthly income and put it towards retirement when they could use that $60 for food. They will skip food now so that they can retire later.
Basically for food later.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, or proportion things out, like they might know that they only have $100 for the week, and they know that they need to incrementally buy food or whatever it is. So, like, things
I don't have that one.
I don't have that either. We probably have a smaller prefrontal cortex than most.
Yeah, but Brooke handles all our finances.
And I'm very, I'm getting better. Okay, I'm getting better.
You are.
But still struggle. So
that goes back to sugar and the bacteria.
Exactly.
It's not your fault.
It's not my fault. No. I'm a victim.
Yep.
So I guess my point is that, like, with long-term planning, you can see that animals, like, they don't really plan long-term, but some of them plan more long-term than others.
Right.
Like, you can do clinical studies with monkeys, and you can try different things that dogs just can't do.
Mm-hmm.
And the decisions that humans would also do, or apes or whatever. So I don't know. Things like that are why I don't believe in free will. Because I just think that it's like, when you look at the brain and you look how complex it is, and you I think it's the amygdala, which is the fear response in the brain. Mm-hmm. And, like, when you're in a high adrenaline state, prefrontal cortex uses the most energy, so it shuts down and then sends shit straight to the amygdala. And so when you're in high stress response, you're not, like, the prefrontal cortex will slow things down from going to the amygdala, and they'll tell you, like, okay, that shape over there, it looks like a gun, but it's not a gun, it's a flashlight, Yeah. And so that's why when they see people pull a fucking cell phone out and they shoot them, and all they had was a cell phone, it's because their prefrontal cortex slowed down, didn't take the time to think that that might be a cell phone, and just saw a gun, because they're in fear for their life for whatever reason. They're in a heightened state.
Yeah.
And their amygdala takes that image and just, like, rapidly throws out what they think, like, pre thought of what could be in this same exact situation, what they've been trained on for the same exact situation. They've, their brain automatically is like, okay, this is that situation where they're probably going to pull a gun.
Yeah.
Sure. And they just take that image and pop out, and you see a gun. I mean, it literally, like, takes that shape and transforms it into a gun, and you shoot them. And then you realize, after your adrenaline slows down,
that wasn't
and
a
you
gun.
Go to it and you're like, oh fuck, that was a cell phone.
Yeah.
I
still think there's free will in there.
Yeah.
I still think to, like,
yeah, no, I dude, trust me, I understand. I'm not saying that you'll ever think otherwise either.
No.
I have no idea. There's a lot of people, like, Christopher Hitchens, he's, like, a really cool fucking writer, and he believed in free will, and he's a genius. It's not like
no, this isn't gonna,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know the answer, you don't know the answer, but this is a good discussion, because
it's not like this is gonna cause a rift between us or anything.
Oh, that's what you think, but we're out in the woods right now, boy.
Oh shit.
I got a shovel.
I'm gonna start running.
Yeah, I mean, out here though, it's so hard to fucking dig, dude.
Yeah,
it's just rock.
It is.
It's so bad,
straight up and down.
Yeah, when I had the bulldozer up here clearing out this spot, dude, I'm just like, the whole time. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's not fun to build on.
No. But so I think we're I don't know where we're at right now, but oh yeah, we're at like an hour. So do you wanna shut her down?
Well, yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, dude, we should do this again.
I've worked with you now for what, 6 months? Or how long been?
Yeah, it's
about that. Or 5.
I don't know, dude. I can't even remember what we did the other day. Like
yeah.
It was since January.
We've been talking about this at least since you started the podcast.
Yeah.
Glad we finally sat down.
Well, yeah, dude, but think about how long I've been talking about this podcast. I mean,
doing the actual podcast
before I met Kendra.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. I used to talk about how I wanted to start a podcast before I met Kendra. That's 7 years ago.
Dude, I'm sure there's so many people that want to be on your podcast. And now I'm like, yeah,
you're the first.
I got on the podcast.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I was like an OG too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, dude. You're one of the first people I knew ever, and you're one of the first people on the podcast. So
yeah, I am the third, I believe.
The third person
on the podcast ever. Oh, because there's you, Kendra, and now I've been on.
Well, I just mean the first guest. Oh, Kendra's permanent.
Well, I know. Yeah, so, obviously.
Yeah.
No, I'm taking your spot.
Taking your spot.
No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I wish she was here, dude. It would have been cool to have her talk about this too, because she actually, like, her and I have talked about the free will thing, and I think she's kind of on the fence on that one too. You know,
we would have longer sessions for sure.
Yeah, I'm not even on. I mean, okay. I shouldn't say I'm not on the fence because I hate living my life knowing things because I don't really know shit, you know? But just from all of the shit I've read and like all the like courses I've taken and stuff, I have a really hard time believing in it, you know? And I don't think it's like, I think it's kind of like spirituality in a way, you know, how people are like, well, if you're an atheist, then what about all these profound moments? And I'm like, well, they're still profound.
Yeah.
You know, like it's still a spiritual moment. Yeah. I still have this like, oh my God. Like, dude, there's been days where I've driven to work. I swear to God, this is so gay, but there's been days where I've driven to work and like thinking about how like the sun is this big fucking ball of nuclear reaction and it's sending light for like survival. And that's like what we live off of, and how like, you know, like it's like atomic fucking change and all this crazy shit. And then I've started crying. You know, because I'm like, it's so beautiful.
That's not gay at all.
No, it's a little gay, but
I'm not saying, I've definitely.
Hey, listen, it's the only time, boy.
Yeah. Better be looking at a beautiful fucking sunrise. We're going to cry in my house.
Or an elk right before your sin went right through the lungs.
Get outside, bitch.
Yeah, but yeah, this was awesome, dude. I'm glad that you came out.
Yeah, me too.
But, so for all the you guys listening, this is my homie Cody Folda. And, this was awesome, and he'll be on here again. So if you enjoyed this, just wait for next time, bitches.
Yeah, right? Sorry for yelling in the mic. Love y'all.
No, they won't know that. I'll edit that out, hopefully.
Oh, cool.
All right. All right. Well, peace.